Welcome to Table Talk Friday, your weekly dose of D&D banter between three men in a bedroom. If you like their style, come back every Friday for another upload. Now, back to the boys.
I mean, we were just talking about Pokemon Go, but can we talk about how I've only done 2 raids in the past 6 years, and my literal second raid that I did was a shiny Zekrom?
You're a jerk. I don't want to hear about your progress anymore. We sat here and I talked you into playing this game again with me. This game I've been playing for years, and you immediately stole all of my luck away in the first 2 minutes. I never want to play with you again. You can uninstall now. I don't care.
Listen, do you want to know the situation I was in when we did these two? So
give me the scene.
Yesterday morning, I actually got up. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go to the gym this morning, but not before I open up Pokemon Go and hit every gym on the block. So I got up. I went and got the one that was here. I got in my car. I drove across the street, went over to one, drove a little bit further, went to the next one, and I hit 6 of them on my way to the actual gym to go work out.
Oh yeah.
So I did that. I was like, okay, that was fun. It actually took me 30 minutes, which I didn't think it was going to. I thought it'd be a quick thing. No, to do all of this, it took me a long time. So
it adds up quick. It does.
So I hit all of these spots and was like, okay, that's it. And then later in the day, we decided we're going to go to Costco today. And I was like, I'm a passenger princess. So I get in the passenger seat. I open up Pokemon Go. As we're driving, spin a stop. As we're driving, catch them on. As we're we even went by a Instinct gym, and I dropped in a Pokemon, and I was like,
ooh, you did a Pokemon drive-by.
I did a Pokemon drive-by. So we get to Costco, we do all our shopping, we get out. I'm sitting in the car, and that's when you texted me, hey, doing raids at 6. And I was like, oh, that's in 5 minutes. And we had to stop by another grocery store to get another thing that Costco didn't have. And so I told Gabby, I was like, look, we have stuff in here anyways, and we need to keep the car on. I'm going to sit in the car and do these raids with Drew. And she was like, okay, I'll run in and get it. So she runs in and gets the stuff. By the time she comes out, I have finished the first raid. And I was like, yeah, I just got to catch this Zekrom really quick. And I throw them all. And I forgot that it's difficult to actually hit the legendary Pokemon. The first 5 balls, I'm pretty sure, didn't even get to the Zekrom. The first 5.
No.
And on the second to last ball, I caught it. And so I was like, perfect. That was awesome. Sick. And then and not even to mention that I had changed my name in the game earlier that day. And so it hadn't registered to all of my friends list, I guess. So I changed it to the DM Seth because that's what I am on everything. Which my old one was Power Chord Slasher, Power Chord like Guitar Slasher, which was related to one of the old Ninja Turtles games. There was a boss called Slasher with a U. Anyways, doesn't matter how I named it. That was what my old gamer tag was. So you weren't able to invite me, but I was able to just go over to my friends and just click on you, and it took me all the way to North Carolina and said I could start the remote raid. And I was like, cool, I can just do this on my own. And I joined. We do this second one. It's over in 3 seconds. My golem is doing just fine holding up against this thing. And so we finish it, and I go to the thing, and I see the Zekrom, and it does a big flash. But to me, I'm like, what's up with it? Because to me, it just looked normal. Because Zekrom doesn't change that much except for the light on its tail, which is not always on.
And apparently it's blue. I had no idea.
Yeah, normally
I don't think I've rated Zekrom prior to today.
Normally it's blue. It's green on the shiny one, which is sick. The green is sick.
That is pretty cool.
Okay. I saw it and was like, oh, but it's got the shiny icon, which I recognize from all my years of Pokemon. I was like, is this a shiny Zekrom? And that's when I immediately texted you guys yeah, my next one was shiny. And if it's shiny, does it let you insta-catch it?
So I was talking to all the pros there. I was talking to people that have been to Chicago and Tokyo recently for all these big events. They did say that now, if your raid is a shiny, it is an auto catch.
I thought so because I was like, oh, I'm not going to get this thing. I missed the first throw. I threw it and he attacked, and so he knocked the ball away. And I was like, I'm going to not get this shiny, and I'm going to have to walk away in shame. And then
Can you imagine not catching that?
I threw the second ball and it caught it, and I was like, oh my god, I got a shiny Zekrom. Instantly made it my buddy, instantly fed it a treat. And so it will be along with me until Zekrom gets added to Pokemon Champions, and then I will make a team with it.
Oh, that's so cool.
And let me tell you some BS, some paywalling they do to get you not to be able to transfer all of your Pokemon to Pokemon Home. They have the Go Transporter, and you can only do a certain amount per week So
Per week?
I transferred like 8 Pokemon, and that was as many as I could do for the week because most of them were legendaries or shiny.
Oh, so they were like higher tier kind of transfers.
Yeah, and so
Okay.
they were higher tier transfers, but it was like, yep, that's it. That's all you can transfer. And I was like, are you kidding me? I spent my time doing this. I didn't spend any money, but I spent my time doing all of this, and you're gonna wall me off? You want me to spend coins to recharge this thing? No.
Oh, you have to pay for it?
I think so. Well, no,
Ah.
it's like a week timer. It'll count down, and then I can do more. But like, I think if I go in
Yeah,
there,
just wait.
I think if every
Just wait.
day, if I went in there, I could probably do 1 legendary per day, which is fine. But I have shiny legendaries and shiny Pokemon in there that need to be transferred.
Yeah, but you could do is you could transfer one per day to me, actually, in Pokemon Go if we were in person. So all you have to do is drive down here, hang out for a week, and then give them all to me, and then I'll put them in your home later.
I mean, whenever there's a time where we need to catch things and we can trade, that's great. I only care about getting cool alternatives and stuff to put in champions. I'm still in champions hard. I went on a 4 or 5 game win streak this morning, and it was some of those times where like by turn 2, I had such an advantage that the other person just quit. Where like,
God.
so here, let me talk you through this before we get fully into D&D talk, right? We're getting this game, and I decided, I was like, I'm gonna make my build a little bit like, I love setup Pokemon, right? I like getting in there
Okay.
and using moves that raise your attack and defense and stuff, so that way you have one unbeatable Pokemon on the field, and even if all your others died, this one can beat the 4 on the other team. That's what I
That's
like
crazy.
doing. So my main Mega Evolution is Tyranitar right now because he has Dragon Dance, which raises your attack and speed. So then I have Sneasler, which is the poison version of like Sneasel. And
Mhm. Yep.
Sneasler knows Coaching, which raises the attack and defense of a Pokemon. And so you can you can throw them both in at the same time, and then use Dragon Dance and Coaching, and hopefully they haven't killed one of your Pokemon by that point. Like they've protected because Sneasler has Fake Out, and they're afraid you're gonna fake them out anyways, and they're gonna flinch.
Oh,
So
that's
a lot of
good.
times they'll waste their first turn protecting. And so you just use your setup moves, and now I have a +2 attack, +1 speed, +1 defense Tyranitar, and I just press Rock Slide.
Rock slide.
And there's plenty of ways I can lose. I did lose after like 4 or 5 games of winning in a row eventually, but my alternative build is I have Mega Scizor, and he knows
let's go.
Swords Dance. So you coaching him to get the attack and defense. You Swords Dance +3 attack, +1 defense, and then press Bullet Punch, and then he just bullet punches over and over again. Dude,
I like it.
battling's
Okay.
fun. Battling is fun.
Meanwhile, in Pokemon Go, people were trying to give me all these tips that when we were doing those Zekrom raids, they were like, "Oh yeah, this is good for that. This is good for PvP." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't care about that. I don't care about none of that. I want it shiny. I want 100 IV. I want 0 IVs. I want big old swole Pokemon that are about this big."
Is this just so because you're collecting, or is it just because you want the best Pokemon Go Pokemon for raids and stuff?
So those are actually the two things I like to do. Some people collect for far more purposes than that. I like the thrill of, holy crap, I got a cool shiny. That's super cool. But I also like building over time like the perfect team for raids so that I could take down anything and get even more of those. So I mentioned like I have a full Mamoswine team, right? It's great for dragon types.
But is the dream so that you can take them down by yourself? We interrupt this regularly scheduled broadcast to tell you about patreon.com/Table Talk Friday, where you can get post shows from the boys every single week. Sometimes they talk about their personal lives, sometimes they talk about gaming, and sometimes the conversation just continues where it left off. So go check out patreon.com/Table Talk Friday now.
The dream is to be able to take most down by myself, but I would say I could take about 70% down by myself. It's just like the legendaries, really. I come close to taking megas down by myself, which you can do with a prime team. But yeah, I guess ultimate dream would be cool that I could just raid by myself. But also that seems really lonely, so I don't want to say that out loud.
So what I'm looking forward to doing is getting shinies on like some community days and stuff. I want to be able to go out there and try a couple of those. So I think I'm going to go to the next one. I'm going to go to it in person. I'm going to check it out. I want more remote raid passes though, so I can just raid with you guys and not leave the house.
Yeah, you're all those real people. I don't want to deal with that.
Someone did take all my gyms back today though, so tomorrow when I go to the
What a
real
waste.
gym, I'm going to have to take them all back on the way.
that you want it to trickle because you only get 50 coins per day. So when they take all of your gems, it's such a waste. It's like I wasted all that time taking those gems. I hate you guys.
Yeah.
But just throwing it out there. Last thing I'll say about Pokemon before we actually talk about the real thing we're supposed to be talking about. Frigibax Day around the corner.
Oh,
He's like an ice dragon, I think.
Yeah,
ice dragon, something like that. He's pretty cool. So I'm just saying.
And he evolves into Baxcalibur.
Yeah, Baxter. Yeah, Baxter the Pokemon. Yeah, I like that one. He's good.
So, big thing for today, actual D&D topic, which, if you guys want to hear more stuff about our personal lives, go to patreon.com/tabletalkfriday. We did a post show the other day that was longer than the real show.
Man, the exclusive content.
That's
the exclusive content of last week.
And
oh my god.
And it's in video. Unless something happens where one of the days I couldn't get the video to upload right, so I just did audio. Like I just put audio up there because I was like, for some reason the video is not uploading right on Patreon. I'm just gonna put the audio because it's fast and easy. But 90% of the time, the video is there too. Anyways, today we're talking about humans and the way that humans fit into our fantasy worlds. And I figured this is the perfect time to have my guest Drew on today. Yes.
Because I'm a human.
Yeah, well, no, but because you exclusively play humans in campaigns. Like, let's be honest.
Oh yeah, only
for the last 2 campaigns, you have been a human, and in even the one before that, we all thought you were human, even though you were a tiefling.
Yeah.
So for 3 campaigns straight, you've been human coded.
I guess it's true. We had mentioned, we were chatting back and forth about what topic we were going to do today, and I thought about it, and I was thinking, well, I guess I am kind of human fighter energy. I do the basic character. Everyone else is playing, cats or centaurs or Goliaths, whatnot, and I did decide this is my 2nd campaign in a row. I decided to be a human. However, I will. So I had this idea for this character for a very long time, and he was always a human, but I felt extremely pushed to play human this time because I have my stat sheet in front of me here. Almost all of my stats, I think it was 5 out of 6, got a mod if I played human and got the +1. So it was like, well, why wouldn't I play human and get 5 extra mods on my character I'm playing for like 2 years?
Idea time, though. If you had decided to play another race, I would have just let you swap it out. You get +1s and everything. Like, you know what I want to play? I want to play a gnome, but you get +1s and everything and don't get the gnome abilities. Whatever,
But Prime, okay, so you're not going super into it, but like my old man character, right? I'm trying to channel old man energy into this guy, right?
Old man energy is human.
It's human, man. Like, there's no other race that would have worked better for this. I was thinking, like, I could do like an orc or something, but that's different levels of cool, and like that's a cool uncle kind of guy.
For old man characters with a lot of the other races, I do still see them as spry. Like, if you had an old man gnome, I would still see him as quite sprightly and young. Exactly. An old man human is run down. He's going to die soon. Like, that's how I view it. So I agree. I think that your character did end up being perfect setup as a human, but you have played human a couple of campaigns in a row now. So I'll start off with this. How do you feel about humans in our fantasy world since we are humans in real life, Drew? Do you feel like humans fit in well, or should we try, since we're going for escapism when we play D&D, should we be trying to get out of the shoes of playing humans?
I've never actually, silly enough, I've never thought of it that way. But no, I don't think that you should think. I think that's a bad way of thinking about it. Escaping into D&D is its own sort of animal, right? However you escape works for you, right? If playing orcs every single session, or playing, I guess, the exact same character for every campaign and one-off is your way of escaping, of immersing yourself, by all means do it. But that's not why I did it, right? Humans are not my comfort zone. It's not like my go-to. I just feel like the last 2 characters have been idealized or symbolically where they were supposed to be humans. At our table, we have a lot of diversity. Like we've especially as of late, I would say in the last year or so, we've really branched out with races, including
like 5 or so white guys. Just
well, no, not at the table. We keep that pretty straightforward. But in the game itself, right? I mean, think about it. The last time we were a group, we were called the Moonimals, We were
Yeah.
moon animals, all of us, except for you. Actually, funny enough, you
Because
were
I was
good
God.
yeah, you were. It was God and animals. That's what we played. But no, I mean, even in the shorter campaign that we played there, I was Shaw Speedhoof. I was a centaur. I had a lot of fun with that. Sean now is playing Bep the Grung. Never thought we'd see a Grung at our table, but it's super fun and
A
super
movement-based
cool. His voice is
wizard.
on point. Movement-based wizard that jumps around. Oh, it's so fun. And his little hat, his cute little hat, man. Oh god. But no, I guess a good little like synopsis on humans. You should play them if you're feeling it, right? Don't play them because you have to. Don't play them because you're not sure what to play, right? Don't like, oh, this is just kind of safe. Play whatever you want to play. And at our table, I think there's a good balance of it. Maybe we should get back to more humans at this point. I don't know, because we've branched out so far.
I disagree with getting back to more humans, which luckily we have done a good job of getting out of this one hole that power gamers would fall into, and that was the variant human. Do you remember the variant human was the only race at one point in 2014 5e that gave you a feat as part of it? Was you get a +2 and +1 in a feat, and that would kind of take place of your racial abilities, was just that feat. So there would be a lot of times where like a Zach or a Sean who like to power game their characters would play that specifically for the feat. But now, since most of our games feature a background feat, like they introduced in the 2024 rulebook, that isn't a problem anymore. So now we just kind of get to choose a feat when we do character creation is our new house rule for 2014, since we still play that. And I like that because it lets us start at lower levels and give more creative energy around those lower levels instead of... It's added a lot of characterization to these first few levels, given that we are 7 sessions in at this point, and one of our characters has had something going on the entire time that's a mystery to all of you, but definitely centers around the feat he picked at level 1. So I like that we added that in, but I'm glad that we're not centered around having to be variant human in order to do it anymore. And now it's kind of like pushes the creativity of what we're creating. But I do agree with you. Humans do fit in fantasy. It was more of a hypothetical question because there is something about being a more, I don't know how to say it, like idealized version of what a human can be, or not even that, but also being able to get out of your own skin, your own shoes, and still play one. Sort of like you would in a video game, right? Like most video games you're playing as a human, but you're not considering that being like, oh, I'm just me. No, if I'm playing Commander Shepard in Mass Effect, I'm still playing a superhero-esque character in a way.
Yeah. I don't think you should think about it too hard. I think whatever you want to play, and this is the way I make my characters. We've talked this a number of times. I pick kind of a theme. I have like a really cool idea that I like, that I want to lean into. I want to have maybe like an idea of a couple arcs or something, like, oh, maybe really cool if he kind of found his humanity, or, you know, he found his lost pig or whatever it may be, right? And I roll with it. And if you're making a character, if you feel like that person's a human, play a human. There's no shame. You can always play different people later, right? And I think it's important for I guess some of the grounding of the game too. Like, I don't want everybody to be like a centaur, because then what fun is that, right? You got to branch it out. If everyone else is playing monsters or playing, you know, tabaxis or whatever it may be, put a human in there, mix it up, make it more fun.
Now, let me ask you this in regards to, my cat is up in the camera. That is so funny. Now, in regards to humans in fantasy, now there are some tropes around them that I really like. I like the humans are bad storylines. So like in The Witcher, I'll use that as one since I've been playing it a lot. I love the humans are bad angle, where it's like the humans are the ones who see themselves as ideal, sort of like elves do in a lot of fantasy. So they're going around and getting rid of any inhuman type races or anything like that, like any dwarves, elves, changelings, things like that. They're getting rid of them in The Witcher because they see themselves as perfect. I like that. I think not in... I don't agree with it, obviously, but I like a lot of flawed human traits. The fact that, like, you guys are not perfect, or even the humans have short lives compared to other races in there. I was even on a quest earlier today where a vampire is talking to Geralt, and he's like, why do you humans try so hard especially given that you have 20 years, whether you live 20 years, 40 years, 80 years, even 100, all of them are a blink of an eye. So why do you care? You're gonna die regardless. And he asked Geralt that, and Geralt was like, well, I mean, let me ask you a different question instead. How are you going to tell a person who has all the coin in the world versus someone who only has 5 how to feel about their situation? Like, there's a lot of different ways to think about it. So I do like humans in that regard, especially in fantasy, when it is like, yeah, the human lives maybe 70 years on average, while you've got your elves who live hundreds, or your orcs who live 40, or anything in between. So all that to be said, they are kind of also just the neutral ground. Like, there's the humans in Forgotten Realms, per se, can be heroes, they could be farmers, but there's not a lot special about them lore-wise. You know what I mean? Like, I can't think of anything like about the human civilization that makes them super duper special in the lore. They just are there, and there's a lot of human NPCs.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of angles you could take on it, right? Like, there's a million different characteristics you can give to what I'm going to call like the human civilization, human race, right? But I'm going to disagree in a certain sense, because I don't really feel like in fantasy, especially in fantasy, that they're sort of the middle ground. Because I think obviously we're human beings, right? And on our planet, we're the apex predator, right? There's nothing like competing with us for the most part, right? It's just how it works. But the second you step into fantasy, when you think fantasy, you step in, you think, okay, there's, elves, and they're all about archery, and then there's dwarves, and they're all about like the mining, and they're kind of mean, and blah blah blah. And you can go through all the different races, and then you think about how cool they are, and then you can almost flip it, and you realize that you're part of the system almost. Like, you're webbed into all this, and it makes you think, oh, well, how does like my people fit in? How do people that I connect to look like? How do they fit into this world that is so much bigger than ourselves now? Because remember, in our real lives, this is life. We know what life is. But you step into the game, and there's dragons, and there's behemoth creatures, and there's gods, and there's all this crazy stuff. Like, I think you are the middle ground in regular life, and then you step into this game where you're absolutely not, and you're just part of everything. I don't know. It makes humans almost more special in some light to me. I don't know, almost more interesting than regular humans. Like, almost like they're super fantasy humans,
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you there. I just think when it comes to a playable race, like a player character, that a human, as far as all of the ones you can pick, is one of the less special ones. It's like, I don't know what makes them super duper special in any way when it comes to lore wise and stuff. I know the elves are supposed to be noble and haughty unless you're a wood elf, and then you live in the woods, and then you've got your gnomes who are tinkerers, you've got your dwarves who are smiths, and you've got your halflings who are penny pinchers and funny and lucky. So it's like they've got all their special stuff, and the humans get a +1 in every stat because they're average as hell.
But I'm gonna challenge you.
Okay.
You're saying they're sort of like
they're a canvas,
the lamer, less interesting. Sure, I hear that, right? But you just mentioned that all these other races, they have, a stigma. They have a thing, right? They have something that's sort of built into. I'm gonna challenge you to think the other way. That humans are the only ones that aren't locked in. Right. They're the only ones that give you almost a little more creative energy, a little more room to breathe.
They're a canvas for which you apply your character creation to. Yes, I agree with that wholeheartedly, because the other ones do come with a specific mood. If you're playing a Grung, you're always going to be a little bit like Beb. You know what I mean?
Yes,
if you're playing a Kenku, you're always going to be kind of like silly and witty and have a weird voice. That's true. A lot of them do fall into all, but that's also based on our whatever we've decided about those other races.
That's true.
Because they don't exist. Like, I've never met a real half elf, so I can't tell you how a half elf is different between one to another. I can only go off of the ones that we have played and or spoken to, and we're humans.
That's true.
So
the world is our oyster, man. We can make anybody we want in any way.
And that's true. I like that you challenge me there because yes, the humans are kind of like the canvases. If you're going to make a character and you're going to make them human, it's easy to make them quite different. And I think that goes a little bit for things like halflings and gnomes and such too, because they fall into that. And even half elves, like anything that's sort of human adjacent, is easy to manipulate a little bit like that. Like Gene, my gnome, he was a gnome, right? Yeah.
No, I thought he was a human. Gene?
Yeah, no, he was a little guy.
Oh, he was shorter.
Yeah,
he was. See, I was thinking he was a human in my brain.
No, that's why he talked with a little bit higher of a voice because he has a stigma. But
I thought he spoke with a higher power because he was God.
No, but like even him being a little guy, he was a gnome. He was definitely a gnome, and
okay.
he.
That's right, because he used to ride around on my back.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, him being a little guy was a lot different than the other little guy. He was not a tinkerer of any sort. He was a holy boy, which is like, it can fall into many stereotypes. Either way, yeah, humans, canvases.
Yeah, I just want to say, that I think some people are afraid to play humans because they want to fall into like one of those more interesting roles. Well, the ones that come across as more interesting, like Goliaths or Lizard Folk or whatever it may be. But I think there's a lot to be said about being a human and pulling it off well. I think it's almost a little more difficult. I know you had said it was a little easier almost, but I think it's actually a little more difficult to pull off a human and make them more of an interesting, unique personality at the table. It challenges you as a player or as a creative thinker, right? To really put a little more gusto into it, make them unique, give them some interesting personality traits, characteristics, whatever, flaws, bonds, whatever they are, whatever else is on the character. You got flaws, bonds, ideals. Ooh, look at all this good stuff. But I would recommend people try it at least once. If you want to jump into fantasy and like go full deep into Lizard Folk and Goliath, by all means have fun. But definitely try human at least one time just to challenge yourself a little bit.
I think the first character creation type of idea is like, I got to go as wacky as possible. I got to come up with something that no one has ever come up with. You're never going to do that. Someone has done your idea before, I promise.
Somebody's done it.
But yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot more to say on humans per se. I do like the thought on like modified ones. So like humans with a little bit of a quirk, and this is gonna go a little into something like a Mass Effect or a Witcher or something like that again. Like in Mass Effect, there are some humans who have like the biotics, right? The parts of the electronic parts of their body that make them get like powers of sorts. Like they can move things around telekinetically and stuff. I think those kinds of things are really cool to add on and make that a whole like separate subspecies of like a human. Or in The Witcher, a Witcher is a human or a person who has undergone mutation, who has like gone through a rite where they have been genetically modified to have better heightened senses than other people and like more power, stronger, things like that. So given those things, I really like the thought of having like, instead of having it be like humans as a whole, amongst the entire society, having it be like, because this is kind of what we do in our own society anyways, right? Our whole world is filled with like 8 billion humans, and yet we separate each other so strongly. Like me, having grown up in North Carolina, is a different kind of human than the one who grew up in Texas, right? That's how it is perception-wise for us, even though it's not true. I like that. I think that is one of the big things that you reference those two is like, the society of Witchers. These are humans, but they're modified. Or like, that person is a human who practices magic, so they're a wizard. Like anything like that. I think that is a specific trait that does fall not amongst just only humans, but is a specific trait of like what I don't even want to say like what segregation or like group mentality that humans have, because I think like a pack mentality or something like that is a huge thing amongst human culture as a whole.
Yeah, there's just different communities, right? Different ways that you grow up. I've always liked, we were talking about Pokemon before. I've always liked the Alolan versions of Pokemon. I've always liked the Hisuian, the Galarian, right? And at first,
Hisuian ones are my favorites.
They're what is it, Hisuian Growlithe?
Growlithe.
Oh, he's super cool. But when it first come out, when I first heard about it, because I didn't play a lot of the later games, I was like, man, that is so lame. It's like they ran out of ideas, so they're just changing the things that they already have. And I can still see how someone would think that, but I like the idea that it's very like Darwinistic, right? Where there's a finch over here and there's a bird over there that has a longer beak, blah, blah, blah. I like the idea that there are these humans in the game, or hell, everybody else too. There's orcs, there's dwarves, there's, elves, whatever it may be. And while they can have that trope that we've talked about, like the archery or the mining, blah, 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 I like the idea that they live in different areas, become different things, like the Duragar, or Duragar, however you say it, right? I like the idea that they are sort of their own thing. Yeah, they're dwarves, but they're their own species of dwarf, right? I like to think there are other versions of humans, there are other versions of elves, like the wood elves and so forth, right? And there are no sub-humans in the game, in the player handbook. Maybe in 2024. I haven't read that far. I don't think there are. But I think it would be interesting to see what people will come up with. Like maybe cave-dwelling humans, or humans that took to the sky somehow.
That's a good idea.
Sky creature. I think it would be interesting. I also think it takes a little away from the kind of the idea of the player and the power of the player to kind of make them their own. But I think it'd be interesting just to see what people came up with.
You gave me such a good idea. I love the idea of like cloud top humans. So like kind of like there were the cloud top, the giants that were on the cloud giants. Having humans that have built like a society in the clouds too would be really cool to see what they're like and see how their society is different. Yeah.
It's more fun sometimes and more relatable to be humans, I think, in that regard of like,
and then just sky person, make it incredibly different. Yeah. I mean, they do that in the arc of One Piece called Skypiea. Like some of these characters had no clue that there were societies in some of these clouds, but there are. And there's a whole arc where they go up to a sky place and they think this one guy is God. And it turns out he's just a guy with a really strong devil fruit power. And Luffy beats him. And now they don't have a God anymore.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's a cool idea. It's a cool idea like that where it's like, what would happen if people were stuck in the sky?
There's an exercise, I don't know if we call it an exercise, but a practice that I heard about it was someone online. It may have been a DM, may have been a D&D influencer on the tube, I don't know. But somebody had mentioned, if you want to create a compelling campaign or a compelling plot, whatever it may be, take anything ordinary and then add something to it or remove it. Usually removing it, I think, is a little easier to do. But you end up getting really cool storylines, and I think it's a good way to apply to humans as well. So, like, you use anything, for example. Let's say in the world we live in today, we have one sun. What if we didn't have a sun? What if it was just a moon or it was dark? Okay, well, maybe what happens in the game? Okay, maybe there's a whole race of vampire people. Maybe everybody's a vampire. Maybe nobody can see. Maybe they all have blind sight at this point in time. Like, you can do that with anything in the world, and it creates these cool settings and environments.
That's like the setting in Magic the Gathering called Lorwyn, where during the day, like when the sun is out, you are one person. And then when the sun goes down, you literally swap and become a different person. And so throughout one half of the day, you're one person. Throughout the other half of the day, you're a different person. Crazy idea, right? Like, and then
very cool.
Trying to like keep yourself, like if you really like who you are and you don't want to lose yourself, trying to stay with wherever the light is all the time. Things like that.
Oh, that's tricky.
It's cool.
Would you have to sleep? I don't know how that works.
I would think you would.
But then you wouldn't be able to chase them all the time. You'd have to get far enough ahead of the sun.
I didn't read all the lore about Lorwyn, but that is the main crux of like, there's these characters who are completely different people in day and nighttime.
I see. I like that. I think we could do a whole episode on just like interesting plots, interesting communities, interesting like peoples, whatever it may be. But I highly recommend anybody that hasn't heard of this idea, apply it. Apply it to your humans, apply it to your worlds, apply it to your campaigns. It's very interesting. It's actually gotten me some very cool plot points and one-offs that I've run in the past. And I think I've got good results from it.
Yeah.
So give it a go. Give it a try.
Thank you for listening to Table Talk Friday. Remember, we're going to do a long post show after this. It's probably going to go long because we end up talking for a long time about things not related just to D&D, but to everything that's going on. I mean, I do have some questions for you about some stuff in the post show, so we're going to get on it. And it is D&D related. So if you want to hear about that, go to patreon.com/Table Talk Friday. But until then, since you're not there, I need stereotypical white man to take me out.
Hey Dave, it's me, John, just sitting by the water cooler. Hope you're having a good day. It is Monday, so at least it's not early Monday, am I right?